Hey guys, Boxez-Red here. I know it's been a while since I've made a video, I think about 3 months, but I thought might as well make one. I have the time right now. So here's what the video is about. I know I usually make Master Duel Masochist videos, but this is a deck profile of a deck I've been testing online and having a bit of fun with. Memento. I definitely didn't just change my deck mid-profile. Anyway, so before we go into the deck, let's look at some of their combos. So here's the basic combo. You open Darkblade, you normal summon Darkblade, who triggers to special summon Anwitch from deck. Anwitch then triggers to add you Tatsu no Goshi, who can special summon himself from hand if you control no monsters other than Memento monsters, and then can pop himself to mill a level 3 and 2 level 1s, or just any Memento monsters that total up to 5. In this instance, you're going to mill Sleepy, Goblin, and Mace. Then Anguich will summon back the Mace. And Mace is very good in this deck because it's both an interruption and one of your main playmakers. Mace can pop himself to grab a spell or a Memento card from deck. So here you're going to grab Fusion. Then you will activate Fusion. Fusion allows you to shuffle back monsters from grave or Memento monsters from grave if you destroyed a card this turn. So you're gonna make Momentolican Tekka Creation King, who has a bunch of effects, but to summarize, he banishes himself from grave to add the field spell. And then he sends 3 Memento cards from deck to grave when he's summoned. And quick effect, you can pop a number of Memento monsters you control and an equal number of cards your opponent controls. So he's gonna send Akiharon and Gatek and himself from extra deck. Gatek will trigger in grave to summon itself and add back the Sleepy. And then you'll use him and add the field spell. Then you'll activate the field spell. Sleepy will trigger here, and you will fusion summon into the Twin Dragon, which is your searcher, who can pop itself to search 2 names. You'll search Combined and Horn Dragon. And then you'll have 3 effects. You'll have the field spell, the Twin Dragon, and the Akiharon. The Akiharon will summon itself back. The Twin Dragon will summon Goblin. And you can summon anything with Mementolican. I'd recommend Anguich, though. Goblin will then pop Akiharon, who can add a Memento card from grave to hand, and you will send Fusion and Fracture Dance. The reason you want to send Fusion here is because Fusion is a quick play spell who can be used to fuse non-Memento monsters. So you can use Fusion on your opponent's turn to make something powerful. And Akiharon can add it back. So you go Akiharon, add back the Fusion. Then you go Fusion, banish itself, pop Goblin or Anguich, it doesn't really matter. Add the Cranium Burst, which is 5 negates by lowering your combined's attack by 1,000 each time. Then you'll summon the Horn Dragon and link it off with Anguich to make IP. Then you'll shuffle back 5 guys. It doesn't really matter who. What you want to have left in grave is the Anguich and the Twin Dragon to summon your combined creation. Then you'll set 2, and in end phase, the field spell will grab back your Fracture Dance. On your opponent's turn, If they try to activate an effect, you have when they activate an effect, you can trigger combined here to summon back Anguish, who on summon can search you Mace, and Mace can discard itself to steal your opponent's monster, so you'll take their monster. And then IP can use that monster to link off into an SP or a Underworld Goddess or Spectre if this card ever comes out. And then SP can banish because you used IP. Let's say they try to normal summon. You can use Creation King to pop their normal summon and your Anguish, which will then trigger Memento to just summon back a card. I mean, it's good to have cards on field in this deck. Then you can Fusion to make a Dragostapelia, because Twin Dragon's a fusion in your grave, and Anguish is a dark. And then finally you have 2 more pops off Fracture Dance, which can pop a card you control by targeting it. And then if you still control combined at this point, you can pop another card on the field. Your other 1-card combo is Tatsu Noguchi. So I'm not going to fully explain this combo and I'll let it play, but it plays basically the same, except for instead of sending a level 3 and 2 1s, you'd send Gaddock to add back Sleepy. Make Twin Dragon, search Darkblade instead of combined, and then you Darkblade for Anguish. And then if you didn't know, Sleepy can send a card when you destroy it, so you destroy it and send a Mace. And then you just go through the races, and you're at the exact same point you were earlier with a Creation King and a card on the field. And then you can activate the field spell, and you already saw this. Now let's go through the deck list and talk about some extra techs you can throw in. So, clearly we're running 3 Tatsu Noguchi and Shigo, I don't know, whatever this card is called, as a starter, and 3 Darkblades. Some people run 2 Tatsu, but I like running 3. I think it's a good starter. If you're wondering, Tatsu is a good spot to negate this deck. 3 Darkblade. Anguish is also a starter. It's not as good as Darkblade because you have 1 less material in the grave, but it is still a starter. 2 Sleepy. Most decks are running 1. I think it's a good enough extender that you can run 2 and be like, sometimes I'll open this. 1 combined, 1 Horn Dragon. This is basically mandatory. Some people are running 2. I think that's kind of dumb, just because combined is so searchable and you're running through your entire engine anyway. Akiharon, Gaddock, Mace, and Goblin. This deck has a bunch of 1-ofs, and you might say some of them are Garnets, but not really. You can basically open most hands can get through this. Fusion, it's a great extender. It's great to see in hand. It just does everything for the deck. It plays through negates. Bone Party, this is either more copies of your extenders or a way to play through the negates. The field spell, required. You need it for combos. It sets you up an extra interruption at the end of your turn. Pot of Prosperity and Reinforcement of the Army. Just consistency. Darkblade's a warrior, so you can search him off Rhoda, and Pot of Prosperity because you don't want to open a brick in this deck. Cranium Burst and Fracture Dance. Some people are only on one of these 2 traps. Honestly, just run both of them. It's super easy now with Akiharon. Originally, it wasn't possible to get Fusion, Cranium Burst, and Fracture Dance, but with this coming out in Rage of the Abyss, just play both. For non-engine, we're on 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Mulcharmy Furos. This deck is only okay going second, and 2 Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre can play a pseudo board breaker, but isn't amazing. 1 Called By, and 3 Infit. For the extra deck, we're on 1 Guardian Chimera, because we can make this on our opponent's turn. Mysterion the Dragon Crown, because it could be a board wipe or a special summon interruption. And the Dragostapelia as a negate. Memento, 2 Creation Crown, 1 Twin Dragon. You can run 2 Twin Dragon if you want to. It's just a little worse. it's good for certain hands, but you can just shuffle him back if you need him again. One Underworld Goddess, one Access Code, one Selene, one SP, one IP, Cross Sheep because you're running fusions, Relinquished Anima because you're running level 1s, and sometimes you want them in grave. Spectra, this isn't out yet, but it's in a bunch of hands you can get 2 spells in your grave, especially if you open like Memento Fusion, especially if you open Bone Party. It's a good card. Honestly, I hope it comes out, but we'll see. And then one Herald of Mirage Lights. This deck does lose pretty hard to board wipes. So it doesn't lose to all of them, but it does take a big damage from them. So the Memento Mace, which is a fairy, can be discarded off of Herald of Mirage Lights. Let's talk about what you could run in this deck. The deck ends on 2 monsters and sometimes can even end on 4. So Silo Hat Rabbit, set something, get a back row removal, really good card. Magnum the Reliever, Memento Fusion is a fusion card. This does take up some of your cards on field. So if you run the Silo Hat, it might be a good idea, but it's really, it's another destruction, which you already have like 7 of, so no need. Crossout Designator. This deck does kind of fold to certain hand traps, sometimes depending on the hand. So having Crossout is good, and the deck has the space for it. I mean, I'm not running that much non-engine, but you could certainly run like 2 Ash. You could cut a copy of Anguish, maybe a copy of Bone Party or Fusion. Run no Prosperity. There's stuff you can cut. One Sleepy. I already did talk about how this deck does lose to board clears, so the Azamina package is really good, especially because early on in your Tatsu combo or your Darkblade combo, you can get a guy off the field before your 5th summon, make Rhea Silvera, and then have a Omni. This deck does end on 2 monsters. You can go into the Fiendsmith line and either end on Desiree or Wave High King Caesar. This deck, you do have to give up some bit of negation, like you can't get a Fracture Dance and a Memento Fusion, but Inferno Flame Banshee into Flag to get either Protoss or Colossus is really good in this deck and really accessible. And then finally, Gigantic Sprite and Nightmare Corruptor Ibli. This is a playable package. It's hard to get though. You kind of have to give up on a couple of negates because what you'll have to end up doing is you'll have to bring back Gaddock and then 2 monsters and then link them off into a Link 2 and then overlay into Sprite to summon Ibli. So you'll land on like an IP, but you won't have, you might miss out on a Cranium Burst or a Fracture Dance and a Fusion. I don't know. I'm not all for it. Anyway, that was the deck list. I hope you enjoyed watching. Please subscribe. Maybe I'll make some more of these, based on how well this does. Yeah, thank you for watching. See ya.